When the system falls, your neighbors become your lifeline or your biggest threat. Who's on your side when the sirens go silent? You wake up to smoke on the horizon and no cell signal. By noon, the news is gone. By night, the looting starts. And by day 3, the guy across the street, the one who always borrows your tools, is suddenly boarding up his windows and won't make eye contact. You've got supplies, but no idea who to trust. The neighborhood feels different. It's tense. Someone's been walking past your house every night, slower than usual. Do you band together with those nearby, or stay hidden and hope they don't come knocking? Is that family next door your future ally, or your first threat? In a collapse, your community becomes the battlefield, and your choices now determine if you survive later. This video lays out exactly how to prepare for that moment, before it's too late. Because when it's 2 a.m. and someone's at your door, no lights, no law, just you and the sound of your lock turning, it's already too late to wonder if you're ready. The time to prepare is now. In a collapse, no one's coming to help. Your home is your last line. You either stop the threat or let it in. Defense begins at your doorstep. You need layers, barriers that hold, warnings that scare, and if all else fails, the ability to end the danger. Even without police, your actions still carry consequences. When orders return, they might come knocking, or your conscience will. That's why you prepare before it happens, so you don't freeze when it does. Let's start with your outer defenses. Stop trouble before it starts. Even in collapse, basic security can make intruders think twice. Signs, fake cameras, or warning stickers might help, but in some areas, they could attract thieves looking for weapons. Dogs are one of the best deterrents. A small dog makes noise, and a big one brings real protection and a strong psychological edge. Solar motion lights can expose prowlers at night, but be careful. Visibility works both ways. In some cases, it's smarter to look like you've already been looted. Scatter some trash, break a chair, leave a door slightly ajar. Anything that makes looters move on. Just don't go too far. If your place looks completely abandoned, squatters may try to take it over. The next layer, early warning. You need time to react before they're inside. Set up low-tech alerts. Stack bottles behind a door. Hang tin cans from a tripwire. Use a basic battery alarm. In rural areas, driveway sensors work well. In apartments, even a baby monitor in a hallway can give you a heads up. The goal is simple. Hear them before they see you. Then, stop them cold. Reinforce your doors and windows. Use solid deadbolts, long screws in the hinges and strike plates. Secure sliding doors with rods or bars. If needed, board up windows with plywood. Just know that limits visibility and can draw attention. Inside, pick a fallback spot. Choose a bedroom with a solid core door, lock, and heavy furniture. Stash a radio in there, and whatever tools you need to defend or delay. You may need to stand your ground, or just wait out the threat. Some preppers go even further and set traps, like pepper spray rigs, but be warned, traps are risky. They can hurt family or friendly visitors, and if the law ever returns, they can land you in serious trouble. Lethal traps are even worse, and rarely worth the risk. When all the other layers fail, last resort defense means armed protection. If someone breaks in and poses a threat to life, you need the ability to respond instantly. In collapse scenarios, being armed can level the playing field. A firearm is the most effective tool, but only if it's secure, accessible, and handled with discipline. Especially if there are children in the home, safety protocols are non-negotiable. Some preppers choose to keep a firearm within reach during high-risk situations, believing that the fastest access could be critical if danger arises. Whether or not to carry is a personal decision that comes with serious responsibility. Still, firearms aren't the only option. Some people prefer non-lethal tools or simply don't have access to guns. In other cases, reliable alternatives include pepper spray. Bear spray works just as well against humans too, with long-range coverage. Stun guns or lasers, they're effective at close range. Improvised melee weapons, like a baseball bat, machete, or crowbar. Whatever tool you choose, practice matters. Under stress, fine motor skills collapse. You need instinctive, trained responses. Mentally walk through likely scenarios, know where your tools are, and rehearse how you'd act. Waiting until the moment of crisis is too late. Owning a weapon isn't enough. You need training and a clear path. If you carry a firearm, practice regularly. Range time is the best, but dry fire drills at home are still useful. Always triple check that the weapon is unloaded. Rehearse quick, safe access to the firearm. In real danger, adrenaline shuts down fine motor skills, and only muscle memory will save you. Set personal rules of engagement before anything happens. Will you give a verbal warning? A clear statement like, "Stop, I'm armed," might stop an intruder cold. But if the threat is immediate and lethal, you may not get the chance. Decide now what your line is, not in the moment. Also, think beyond the intruder. Could your armed neighbor mistake you for the threat? In collapse conditions, friendly fire becomes real. Talk with trusted neighbors. Simple agreements, like announcing yourself if you come to help, can prevent deadly confusion. Hey, quick note here. Laws differ by state and region. Always check your local regulations before making any decisions about weapons or self-defense. This video is for informational purposes only, not legal advice. Alright, let's get back to it. Legal considerations don't just vanish just because society does. In the US, self-defense laws still apply, and might be enforced later if order returns. Deadly force is usually only legal if you responsibly fear for your life or someone else's. Most states follow castle doctrine or stand your ground principles, but others still expect you to retreat if possible. During collapse, no one may be watching, but after recovery, actions may be reviewed. Homeowners after Hurricane Katrina were investigated for shooting looters, so don't act impulsively. Only use deadly force when truly justified. If possible, try non-lethal options first. Brandishing, warning shots, though risky, or verbal commands. But if it's life or death, act to survive, then be ready to explain it clearly. I feared for my life. He was armed, and I had no choice. In states of emergency, extra laws often apply, like curfews or price controls. If you're in a restrictive area, simply possessing a weapon might still carry legal risk. If you choose to accept the risks, at least understand the consequences. Some people use the phrase, "better judged by 12 than carried by 6. But relying on that mindset can have serious legal consequences. When collapse hits, defending your home may become unavoidable. But how you defend it, and at what cost, is the question most never truly answer. Even trained professionals struggle after taking a life. In a collapse, defending your family might be necessary, but that doesn't make it easy. Some people freeze when it matters most, simply because they never decided where their line was. So, ask yourself now, under what conditions would I be willing to use lethal force? If you're not willing, that's valid. Just adjust your plan accordingly. Focus on evasion, avoidance, and non-lethal methods. If you are willing, be clear that that's the last resort. Taking a life should only happen to protect innocent life, and only when no other options remain. If you're part of a group, organize your defense. Set up watch shifts if the threat level is high. 2 hours on, 4 off at night is common. Use clear alert signals, a whistle, a shout, or something agreed upon in advance. If your group is armed, assign fields of fire to avoid accidents. Make sure everyone knows who's trained with what. It might feel tactical, but structure prevents chaos and improves safety for everyone. If you need to travel, prepare for threats on the road. Lock your vehicle. Don't stop for strangers unless it's clearly safe. Some preppers add grill guards to push through debris or crowds if needed. It's unlikely, but not impossible. If you have firearms in your vehicle, understand local laws, even during emergencies. Quick access matters, but safety is critical. Also, cars offer poor protection. Bullets go through doors easily. Avoiding a fight is better than getting in one on the road. If you ever use deadly force, document what happened. If any law enforcement is active or returns later, explain your actions clearly and as soon as possible. If no authority is present, write down what occurred for your own record. It may help you recall details months later or defend your actions if ever questioned. Still, stay grounded. Avoid vigilante behavior. In crisis, it's tempting to act tough, to say, "We'll shoot looters on sight." But taking a life over stolen property is legally and morally dangerous. When order returns, those decisions can haunt you. In some communities, people may discuss how to deal with thieves, detention, exile, or worse. That path can turn ugly fast, so instead, try holding the line, act with restraint, maintain a sense of order, and avoid turning your group into something lawless. Not every person is a threat. Many survivors are just desperate, not dangerous. If you can de-escalate, do it. If you can share small supplies to avoid bloodshed, consider it. Save violence for moments when it's absolutely necessary, and never lose sight of your own humanity. In the end, defense is about readiness, not aggression. You prepare so you don't panic. You secure your home so you don't have to fight. And if you do own weapons, you train not to use them, but be ready if there's no other choice. Understand your local laws, respect the power you hold, and above all, value life, yours, your family's, and even that of others who may not mean harm. A collapse strips away the systems that keep order. But if you thought it through, if you've planned, trained, and stayed level-headed, you won't just survive. You'll do it without becoming the very chaos you're trying to escape. When the dollar dies, what will you trade to survive? No cards, no banks, no digital safety net. Just you, your supplies, and whatever still holds real value. Our modern world runs on invisible money, credit cards, digital transfers, online banking. But what happens when the grid goes down, banks close, and paper dollars lose their value? Financial preparedness in a collapse comes down to two things: having the right resources when traditional systems fail, and understanding how value works when cash no longer matters. We start with emergency cash. In nearly every disaster, from hurricanes to power grid failures, one of the first things to break is the payment system. Cards stop working, ATMs go offline, stores turn to cash only, and exact change becomes king. That's why it's smart to keep some cash on hand. Small bills, 1s, 5s, and 10s. You don't want to be stuck paying $20 for a loaf of bread just because no one has change. How much should you store? It depends on your situation, but many preppers aim for a few $100s per person, enough to cover basic needs like food, gas, or a night or two in a motel. Some go further and keep enough to last 1 to 2 weeks. If you can safely stash more, then do it. Store your cash in a safe place, like a lockbox, a hidden compartment, or even a secure cache outside your home. A handful of coins might help also, like quarters for machines, or even old silver coins with real metal value. Beyond cash, think of terms of real, physical assets with lasting value. Gold and silver have become trusted for thousands of years. In a collapse, real metal often holds value when paper doesn't. Silver coins, especially pre-1965 US dimes and quarters, are a practical way to store wealth. They're small enough for trade, recognized by most, and less likely to attract attention like large gold bars. Keep in mind, precious metals are for larger or long-term exchanges. You won't buy a can of beans with gold, but a silver coin, you might get a sack of rice or a tool you need, especially if the person across from you understands what it's worth. And finally, remember this: your skills are currency too. If you can repair things, treat wounds, grow food, or teach others, you have something to trade. In a world where dollars don't matter, value shifts back to what's useful, what's real, and what helps people survive. What becomes currency when dollars are worthless? If a collapse persists, formal currencies may either inflate to ridiculousness or be unavailable. Historically, when economies break down, barter and alternative currencies emerge. People use cigarettes, alcohol, or even chocolate as mediums of exchange. The key is, the items with intrinsic or widely recognized value become money. So, what should you actually stockpile to use as barter? The best barter goods are small, shelf-stable, and tied to core survival needs: water, food, shelter, fuel, hygiene, and safety. In every crisis, these items become currency because people don't trade for luxury when they're cold, hungry, or sick. Let's walk through the most useful categories. Water purification supplies. Clean water is life. In a collapse, filters, purification tablets, bleach, or even iodine drops become instantly valuable. If you can help someone make water drinkable, you hold power. Food and basic ingredients. Canned foods, rice, beans, salt, sugar, oil, all essentials. But also think of morale, coffee, tea, candy, and chocolate. Comfort items go fast when shelves are empty. Medicine and first aid. Bandages, painkillers, antiseptics, they disappear early in any crisis. If you have extras, even over-the-counter cold meds or ointments become trade goods. Antibiotics, if you have them safely stored and ethically sourced, can be worth their weight in silver, but use discretion. Hygiene and sanitation. Soap, toothpaste, bleach, alcohol, feminine products, and toilet paper. In Venezuela, toothpaste and TP were traded like gold. When people can't stay clean, disease spreads, so hygiene becomes survival. Fuel and fire tools. Lighters, matches, candles, propane, and batteries. Stockpiled gasoline or solar chargers, huge value. Fire means warmth, cooked food, and morale. And something as simple as a Bic lighter could one day be worth 10 times its current cost. Ammunition. In armed communities, ammo becomes barter currency. Popular calibers like .22, 9mm, .223, .308, and 12-gauge shells hold trade value. But be very cautious, never arm strangers. Only trade ammo with people you trust, or don't trade it at all. Alcohol and tobacco. These are time-tested barter staples. Mini bottles of whiskey or vodka, cigarettes, or rolling tobacco all hold vice value. They also offer practical use. High-proof alcohol works as disinfectant or stove fuel. Tools and hardware. Knives, multi-tools, duct tape, nails, hammers, saws, any sewing supplies like needles and thread. When stores close, tools become survival essentials, and people will trade for them fast. Batteries and small electronics. Flashlights, radios, LED headlamps, and solar-powered gear are incredibly useful. Forget luxury gadgets. Stick with gear that lights, charges, or helps you communicate. Precious metals. Gold and silver are historic currencies, and silver coins are especially tradable. But keep this in mind, in the first wave of collapse, people want soup, not silver. Metals matter more in long-term barter economies once things stabilize a bit. You don't need to guess what to stock, just double down on what you already use. If you regularly eat canned tuna, rice, or peanut butter, buy extra. That way you're storing items that you can consume if needed, or trade if not. You don't want shelves full of stuff you'll never touch, just on the hopes it becomes valuable. There are exceptions though. If something has universal value, like ammo or fuel, it might be worth storing, even if you don't personally use it. But again, be careful. Don't hoard volatile or dangerous items unless you know how to store and handle them safely. When systems fail, everyday things gain value, almost instantly. Something useless to you might be a lifeline to someone else. Take baby formula, worthless to most, but priceless to a parent. They might trade fuel, food, or other essentials just to get it. And it's all about timing, need, and location. In a flood zone, water filters might be the top trade item. In a drought, food and salt could dominate. A smart prepper anticipates what's likely to be scarce in their region and stocks accordingly. Bartering isn't about bulk, it's about precision. Instead of one big jug of whiskey, stock up on mini bottles. Instead of a 50-pound sack of sugar, get snack-sized candy bars or individually spiced packs. Why? Because small items are easier to trade, safer to carry, and reduce disputes. No need to make change, no arguments over portion size, just clean trades that get the job done. Bartering can save you, or mark you as a target. Trading in uncertain times comes with risks. When you barter, you're showing others what you have. Sometimes that's enough to make you a target. Always try to make trades in neutral or semi-public locations. Bring a friend to watch your back, and never mention your full inventory. Saying, "I've got 100 more at home," invites trouble. Only carry what you plan to trade. Keep the rest hidden. Over time, try to build a circle of trusted traders. Maybe neighbors, maybe a small local market that forms over time. Informal barter meetups may start. Say, people gathering on Sundays at town square. These can work, but approach them with caution. Start small, feel out who's there. Watch, listen, and don't rush into high-value trades. Bartering may start with basics, but over time, patterns form. And certain items take on value beyond their use. In every collapse, when money stops working, people don't just give up on trade, they adapt. Sometimes a new currency quietly takes over. Not paper bills or credit cards, but whatever people find useful, compact, and easy to pass around. Cigarettes, tiny liquor bottles, even bullets. In post-war economies and during hyperinflation, these weren't luxuries, they were money. Because everyone wanted them, and everyone knew what they were worth. You've seen the fiction, like bottle caps in Fallout, but reality isn't far off. In a long crisis, a pack of smokes might buy you food. A bottle of whiskey might cover fuel, not because it's fancy, but because it's familiar, tradable, and in demand. That's why it pays to be flexible. Maybe you don't drink or smoke, but having a stash of vices could buy you what you need. Or maybe trade shifts away from goods entirely. Maybe labor becomes the new currency. You help repair a roof, and someone hands you dinner. Fair value for fair value. The method of trade may change, but the principle never does. Digital money is convenient until it disappears. Financial prepping isn't just about bartering when the system fails. It's also about protecting yourself before things go south. Keep part of your wealth in physical assets like land, tools, metals, not just in digital accounts. Digital money can vanish in a power outage. Insurance still matters in most crises, though it may be irrelevant in total collapse. Reduce debt where possible. If income disappears but debt remains, it could cost you property or resources down the line. This overlaps in personal finance, but in prepping, financial stability is survival. Those with savings and supplies weather the storm much better than those living paycheck to paycheck. In hard times, showing wealth is asking for trouble. If people know you've got gold or a stocked pantry, they may come knocking. So, even if you're prepared well, keep it low-key. Dress modestly. Don't flash high-end gear. Don't let others know what you're holding. Appear like everyone else, just another survivor trying to get by. This isn't paranoia, it's self-preservation. If the crisis ends and recovery begins, your stored resources could give you a head start. A new currency might replace the old one. If you've held on to silver or gold, you could convert it. Or maybe you've got supplies others still need. You might open a small shop or trade post. Think of your preps not just as survival stockpiles, but as seed capital. Tools for rebuilding. Assets that can restart a livelihood. Preparation isn't just surviving the collapse, it's helping you rise when things stabilize. And that includes your finances, because when systems fail, your money needs to survive too. But survival isn't just about what you have, it's also about who's around you. In collapse, your greatest risk or greatest strength might be other people. There's a saying, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. That applies to collapse scenarios too. Surviving on your own is possible, but extremely difficult. Working with others improves your odds in many ways, but it also comes with risks. Let's break down both sides, solo survival versus group survival, and how to build community without sacrificing security. Still, many preppers prepare to survive solo. Sometimes it's safer, sometimes it's the only option. We've all seen the image, the lone survivor, armed, silent, self-sufficient. It's a powerful fantasy, but real solo survival is anything but easy. In a full collapse, life becomes a 24/7 job. You need to stay on guard, find food, keep a fire going, filter water, secure your shelter, every single day. And if you get hurt or sick, there's no one to help, no one to pull watch while you sleep. Even the most skilled prepper can't be a medic, mechanic, hunter, and security expert all in one. But there are advantages to going it alone. When you're by yourself, stealth becomes easier. It's much simpler for one person to stay hidden, move quietly, and slip away unnoticed than it is for a group. Mobility is faster too. No one to wait for, no need for coordination. You also make decisions instantly. There's no need to debate or explain your thinking. You rely on your gut, act quickly, and stay one step ahead. Another benefit, there's lower consumption. One person needs far less food and water. Your pack is lighter, your footprint is smaller. And when plans change, and they always do, you're free to adapt. You can lay low, shift direction, or move camp without needing to get anyone else on board. Still, the downsides are steep. Loneliness can break you. Mental health deteriorates fast in isolation. Without others to protect, many lose purpose, and physically, you're exposed. One injury, one ambush, and that's it. Solo survival is high risk, high stress, and hard to sustain over time, because even the best lone wolf has limits. And that's where groups come in, whether it's just you and a partner or an entire neighborhood working together. The key advantage, strength in numbers, and the power of shared effort. One person can keep watch while another cooks. Someone gathers firewood, another one cares for the sick. You split the work and multiply your chances. Groups bring diverse skills to the table. Maybe you know firearms, your partner is a nurse, your neighbor is a mechanic. Together, you form a team that's far more capable than any one person alone. A group also deters trouble. looters might back off when they see an organized street with patrols and armed defenders. They'll go for easier targets instead. Historically, communities have outlasted disasters through cooperation, shared food, tools, labor, even just morale. Helping neighbors doesn't just feel good, it builds allies. The best prep isn't a fortress, as one expert says. It's a web of neighbors sharing skills and watching each other's backs. Programs like FEMA's CERT are built on this idea. Ordinary people trained to respond and survive together. But group survival isn't all upside. Coordination can be chaos. More people means more opinions and more conflict. You'll need structure, leadership, or at least a clear plan. And choose members wisely. One selfish or unstable person can tear the whole group apart. Tension grows, supplies get stretched. 10 people burn through food a lot faster than one. And if your stockpile is limited, you'll need a way to hunt, grow, or scavenge fast. But getting food is one thing. Protecting it, that's another challenge. When others know what you have, where you store it, how you operate, that trust becomes risk. If someone leaves on bad terms, that might lead trouble straight to your door. Groups also make noise, cooking fires, voices, footsteps. It's much harder to stay hidden. And then there's disease. In close quarters, one cough can spread fast. Shared space means shared germs, and in a collapse, even a minor infection can turn serious. You'll need to reinforce hygiene and have a plan for quarantine. It's harsh, but necessary. One sick person could put everyone at risk. So, how do you build a group that's both close-knit and crisis-ready? If you choose to survive as a group, whether it's family, trusted friends, or your entire street, structure is what separates order from chaos. Start with shared goals, cleared roles, and agreed upon rules. Agree on how decisions are made, by leader, vote, or consensus. Decide how supplies are used. Is food pooled and rationed? Does everyone contribute labor daily? Even a basic code of conduct reduces conflict when tensions rise. Next, leverage everyone's strengths. Make a skills inventory. One person's good with radios, put them on comms. Another one's calm under pressure, assign them to security. People work better when they feel useful, and critical tasks can get done right. Then, train together. A group that drills before disaster strikes will outperform one thrown together after. Try basic planning meetings, even informal ones. If prepping sounds too heavy, frame it as a disaster prep, like for hurricanes or power outages. You might find others already interested. Some even form mutual assistance groups, tight-knit teams that plan, prepare, and watch each other's backs. Still, even the best plans fall apart without clear, reliable communication. Daily check-ins, short briefings to share updates, plans, and concerns keep everyone aligned. Also, don't let one person hold all the knowledge. Cross-train your group. If only one person knows how to purify water and they go down, the whole group is at risk. Trust wisely. People you trust who've earned their place, but collapse doesn't always go by the script. At some point, someone might show up. A lone traveler, a family in need, a stranger looking for safety. If you let them in, consider a probation period, limit their access, observe their character, and build trust gradually. And finally, keep size manageable. A group of 2 or 3 might lack manpower, but 30 or more becomes a logistical nightmare. Most resistant groups fall between 5 and 12 adults, enough to divide duties and rotate security, but small enough to stay organized and responsive. Larger groups often break into squads or families with delegated roles. That kind of structure works best when your neighborhood starts acting like a unit. Because when things fall apart, your street might become your front line. In a collapse, a single household is vulnerable, but a neighborhood that bands together, that can become a fortress. If you live in a suburban or urban area, coordination is key. Set up a patrol schedule, especially at night. Rotate duties. Everyone takes a shift. Designate roles. Maybe one house becomes a first aid station, another the food kitchen, another used for storage or sleeping quarters. In cul-de-sacs, some neighbors consolidate into a few homes for defense and efficiency. Others become supply depots or are stripped for building materials. Once that structure is in place, it's time to think about protection. Block off side roads with vehicles or debris to stop drive-by looters. Set up controlled entry points, simple choke points that the group can monitor together. If only one family has a working radio, make sure everyone gets the intel. If tools are limited, pool them. Then use what you have to plant gardens, patch defenses, or dig a communal well. Every hand, every tool, every bit of information becomes part of the survival plan. Now, community doesn't mean utopia. You'll face ethical decisions. Do we share food with outsiders? What happens if someone steals from the group? This is governance, like a tiny society. Some neighborhoods even write emergency agreements. We, the residents of X street, agree to do Y if disaster strikes. It may sound extreme now, but clear rules prevent chaos later. And when the dust settles, you won't be the only ones out there. Some survivors may offer help. Others may bring danger. Approach unknown groups carefully. Be firm, not aggressive. A visible show of strength, armed members in sight, can prevent conflict without starting one. If it's safe, trade relationships can be gold. One group has ammo, another has food, everyone wins. But if things are lawless, allies matter. They become your shield. In true collapse zones, communities often band together to fend off gangs. Because in real collapse zones, it's not theory, it's fact. Communities survive by standing together, or not at all. Know your neighbors. Set up a simple rally method, like whistle codes or radio signals, to call for help fast. Humans draw strength from one another. In groups, people laugh, they cry, grieve, and push through hardship together. Children especially need this. They need to play, learn, and feel safe. That old phrase, we're all in this together, in a collapse, it becomes fuel for the soul. But be careful, groups can also spread fear. One person panics, others follow. That's why strong leadership matters. Give people clear roles, make them feel useful. A purpose keeps the mind sharp and the will to survive alive. So remember, survival isn't just about gear or grit. It's about mindset, trust, and the people you stand with. Take care of your crew, and I'll see you in the next video.